There you go. Awesome. So welcome to Coffee Connect, everybody. I'm Roddy. I'm the host here. Today, we're going to talk about procrastination and delaying things and why we as humans will often do so, right? If you enjoy the conversation today, you enjoy the connections you make, you want to hear more, you want to see more, you want to be more of a participant, feel free to email me, right? ccinfo@addictedtoconnecting.com. I'll go ahead and add you to the invite list so that you're continuing to get the invites. You know what the topic is that's coming up. And hopefully we can all be better prepared to talk about what we're going to talk about, right? As I mentioned, we do playbacks. The website is actually addictedtoconnecting.com. You know, feel free to jump on the website, really get an understanding of where Coffee Connect came from, why we are here, and really what it has evolved to be today. Our goal has always been for this year, right, to add 100 new participants. I'm happy right now. I think we're looking at 5 new participants that are on here for the first time, or at least 4. But definitely want to get those guys an opportunity to introduce themselves at some point down the road today. So keep that in mind and be prepared to give us your intro. After we do new person intros, we'll jump into the topic of the day, procrastination. We'll finish up talking about what are the upcoming Coffee Connect topics, right? And then we're going to throw out some future events out there because I know Jeff and Lamar and a few others know of some other networking opportunities, right? And most of us are here to figure out where can we meet people, how can we meet people, and what are the other opportunities out there. And I think that's a great time to do it. So I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to jump into these intros real quick. Anybody want to go first? Karen, I'll start with you, Karen Colon. And go ahead.
Well, hello, everybody. I was talking to my small group. I was brought here by Amy Marsloff, so thank you to her for being the Supreme Connector. My name is Karen Colonna Ring, and I am the CRO, the Chief Resilience, Revenue, and Results Officer of Karen Colonna LLC. I am a public speaker and a revenue maximizing consultant. I speak on the topic of shining forward. I help people to live it, own it, and share it. And at the core of authenticity and vulnerability and building connections, we can foster connection and unleash our resilience, which is to me the key of how we move forward. And the balance of that, or the foundation of that, is my story. And I speak to organizations, I speak to sales teams, HR groups, I speak to nonprofits, as well as at women's leadership conferences. And I told Amy, I am looking for fractional work. I am a chief outside sales officer. I can lead a sales team. I can also come in and be a fractional development executive for nonprofits that are in transition, because as soon as you have a gap, you have downtime. So hopefully that's in a nutshell.
I love it. Thank you so much, Karen. I already know you're going to make a lot of friends here. Resilience is something that we often talk about, right? And know that it is so important to what we do. Next up, Miss Amy Hall, or I'm sorry, Amy Hill.
It's funny because where I work, we actually have an Amy Hall. And so that confusion happens all the time. I am Amy Hill. I'm the HR director at Check Off Your List. We provide fractional executive assistant, human resources, marketing, bookkeeping services for small to mid-sized businesses who they are doing well, but they're not reaching their overarching goals because they're stuck in the weeds. And so we find joy in jumping in the weeds and just clearing them out. And I like to say one thing that sets us apart is that, you know, it's hard to hire someone when you only need like 5 hours a week of help. That is, as someone in HR, I know that is a next to impossible job to fill, but we could provide that. We could do 5 hours a week of help if that's all the person needs, or even one-time projects, things like that. So Amy Hill will Check Off Your List.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy, for joining us as well. And Amy was introduced to me also by Amy.
That's right.
So some of you slackers that ain't bringing nobody and talking to people about this group, right? Take some lessons from Amy Marsloff, right? So Nicholas Petway. Listen, Nick and I go back a long ways, guys. He was on the Enterprise with me and stuff. I'll let him tell his story and stuff and what he's going through and stuff, but definitely excited. We got connected on LinkedIn. Well, we were already connected on LinkedIn, but we happened to connect over a phone call this past week, and I did not know he was jumping in here this morning, but I'm so happy he has, right? Go ahead, Nick.
Yes, sir. My name is Nick Petway, and over the past 3 months, I think this is actually the most times I've heard my first name mentioned. It's still kind of difficult for me, but I'm getting used to it. I'm retired. I did 20 years in the military as a nuclear machinist mate. I'm just trying to learn about the civilian part of it now, trying to get a good piece of the American action. I guess that's where I'm at right now.
Oh, awesome. And Nick you're in Virginia Beach right now, right?
Currently I'm in Portsmouth, but Virginia Beach, I go to Virginia Beach and Norfolk.
Tidewater area. He's in the Tidewater area though, down that way and stuff.
Mhm.
Are you looking to stay down there too?
At least for the next 2 years.
Okay, perfect, man. Thanks for joining us, Nick. Somebody else have a question for him? Cool. Jessica.
I do. Nicholas, what kind of job are you looking for?
Um, something that can use my skills. So I have a heavy QA background, a heavy maintenance background, and I'm a mechanic, and I'm also learning HVAC at the moment. So AC and refrigeration, heating and cooling. But for the most part, if it's something that if I can see it, I can likely do it. So I'm not really limited to those things, but I'm really good at those things.
So I will say that I'm sure it was meant to be that this morning, I literally just got an email about jobs open at, I believe the company is called Forgen, like Forgen, and they're a huge construction company. And I'm almost positive they had jobs that you're describing in Virginia Beach. I mean, it's uncanny. I'm almost positive, but I can go back and find the email if you want to connect with me one-on-one, because I think that's only what I read this morning.
I'm 100% open to it. I'm ready.
And before Jessica introduces herself and kind of tells us where she's at in her transition and things that she's doing, I would encourage everybody, put your contact information in the chat, right? So that you can go back, save that chat, and find each other's contact information to get connected on LinkedIn or email or however your preferred method of contact is. Go ahead, Jessica.
Hey, everybody. I'm happy to be here. So what I do is a very niche, specialized type of role. I am in the corporate health and wellness space, yet I also do culture work, inclusion, belonging. I'm a resilience and thriving facilitator. So Karen, you and I are simpatico on that. So I do, I'm kind of in Cincinnati, becoming known as a thought leader on mental health in the workplace. So I speak to that a lot, can really help drive initiatives, programming, strategies all around the holistic wellness space. Super open to being fractional, would like to find full-time, but fractional is fine. A lot of these smaller companies can't afford to hire a wellness director or a health strategist, so would really be open to that. And also working on creating my own consulting company as well, really focused on mental health in the workplace. But thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Jessica. And last but not least, I'm pretty sure this is her first time here as well. Beth, right?
Yes, it's Beth
Yep.
Juszczyk. Yeah. Hey, good
Go
morning,
ahead.
everyone. Good morning, everyone. This is Beth Juszczyk, and I'm in the Cincinnati area. I'm a CFO for a company, small to middle-sized company that sells commercial loading dock doors. Also, the owner has a bourbon business, so I also help support the bourbon business also. And on the side of that, I also support my husband in his chiropractic business. So I have a lot of hats that I continually wear. I'm actually looking to transition out of my current role as CFO. And just, I can see the writing on the wall. The owner of the company is trying to sell his business. So I just feel like it's a good time to break. So definitely still wanting to do something in finance, whether it's still continued CFO, controller type role, or even just like finance consulting. I'm open to that also. So just looking to connect. I've been at this company for about 8 years. So I was talking to Rodney a couple of weeks ago, and just the whole getting back and reconnecting, doing the interview process. I mean, it's a lot, and trying to find what that particular job that I want to continue the rest of my, as I finish off my career. So,
well, the best thing you can do is continue to get encouragement from folks like this, right? We're all here to help each other.
yeah, thank you.
And I will tell you, there's some great resources in here. And I mean, Dave is a great person to sit down with and kind of, he asks some great questions that allows you to figure out, where am I trying to go? Where am I wanting to go with this, right? Especially with the finance background. Dave kind of knows that field a little bit, right? Another person, when it comes to networking, really, he's a master, right? And he jumped off of here. I'm not sure. He might be having some technical issues, but Lamar Ratcliffe is another one. And then the other person I would tell you is Jeff Hexter, right? So everyone, and that's not just for Beth. I think that's for everybody, right? Those are all great names for folks to tie into and kind of explore those opportunities that you're looking for from a networking standpoint.
Hey, Beth.
TK,
Sorry, hey, Beth, I would suggest that you might want to get a little more detail when you say you support bourbon businesses, because there's a lot of here support bourbon businesses.
Well, I can hook you up for some good bourbon.
I seen Tim's eyes go, ooh.
Point you in the right direction.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thank you.
Warren Brown and I are down in the Cincinnati area too. With
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about Job Search Focus Group at the end of this one. We'll put that out as one of the upcoming events and stuff. So Joe or Warren, one of you, I'll call on you and you guys can kind of talk to it and stuff like that. Is okay? Good deal. Good deal. So avoiding procrastination, guys, this is the topic for the day. This is like a disease sometimes, right? I mean, you can get to procrastinating and things can go on and you think that you have all the time. I want just out of curiosity, can anybody tell me what you would lose today by waiting till tomorrow to do something? What you will lose today by waiting till tomorrow to do the same thing?
Time.
My whole business. My whole business.
Yeah, I think the simplicity is if you've ever read The Compound Effect, right? Whatever small lesson you can learn from taking action today, right, is going to compound on tomorrow's successes and stuff. And so this becomes a disease sometimes that keeps us from truly being successful and moving forward with our ideas and our things that we're wanting to do. Types of procrastination, right? Anger and rebellion, right? How many of you guys have never, or maybe our kids more so, right? They don't do something because of, they're like, mom, right? Or dad or whatever. And they don't do something because of the anger or rebellion, right? Some of us reside in the fear factor of, man, I'm not sure what that's going to bring me or whatever, right? The self-doubt, am I really good enough to do this? Or am I good enough to move forward in this effort or this project or whatever else, right? And there's always going to be a discomfort, right? With that new task or new project that's in front of you. Who's the perfectionist here? Who's the one? Everything has to be to the T, right? And sometimes that gets in our way. Thankfully, I was growing up around the government as Nick was, right, for 20 something years, and we always had the 80% rule. Government, it's good enough for government work, right? Good enough for government work, and I've adopted a lot of that sometimes, right? Fantasizing. We get to daydreaming about other things or whatever else it might be. And crisis maker, overdoers, right? Some of us are pleasure seekers, and that's why we procrastinate, because we would seek to do the things that are more pleasurable than the things that are actually going to lead us to greater success in our endeavors, right? And so I think as we start to understand procrastination and who a procrastinator is or what a procrastinator is defined as, right? We have to understand where these things fall into our life, right? And not everybody is going to be the same. Obviously, understanding the definition that the act of postponing or delaying, right, especially out of habitual carelessness or laziness, right? Procrastinating just to procrastinate. Right. I loved it last week. We were ending the scenario or ending the session, and I announced what we were talking about this week. And Jeff Exter said, how about we wait to talk about procrastination, right? Or something to that effect, right? Hitting home with the fact that we can always wait to learn about stuff, but really we're going to lose out on some lesson that we could possibly get to today. And so understanding the definition, understanding where it resides within us, I think is important, but wanting to know what's it going to lead to. How many of you guys have ever procrastinated in your life? So almost everybody has raised their hand. What has it led to for you? I'm gonna stop sharing and open the floor here. What has it led to for you? Where did procrastination get you?
Missed
More
opportunities.
anxiety,
Missed opportunities. What'd you say, Tim?
more anxiety.
More anxiety.
It tends to make
Exhausted.
things worse than they actually are.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
No, right? Listen, and
It got
we
me
were,
more pain.
Dave and I were talking yesterday, right? And we were kind of reviewing some topics that are upcoming and stuff. But and for most of you guys know, I just started master's class. I transitioned my master's classes to UC, right? And so yesterday was the first day, and I'm reading through the orientation and the overview, right? And it's like, and one of the highlighted bold statements, like was like, the night before the exam, it's not when you're supposed to study for the exam. And I'm like, I'll get you, I'll show you, right? Because that's what I do, right? But it does, it leads to more anxiety, it leads to more pressures, right? And things like that are never good for you in the long run and stuff. So perfect. Keep those in mind. We're going to keep talking about this. Let me go back to sharing so we can continue on. It leads to wasted time, missed opportunities, poor performance, self-deprecation, right? Increased stress, right? In the long term. And none of that is ever any good, right? And so I think we have to understand that overcoming this is going to do a lot of good things for us. And that by delaying our abilities or our choice, because guys, it is all a choice, right? To overcome procrastination, right? By delaying that choice, right? We're only going to compound the worst effect versus compounding the goodness that could happen within our lives, right? And so if we start looking at procrastination, how many of you guys feel like procrastination is kind of embedded in your environment and just things that you've learned, or is it just something that we choose to do?
I think
think we choose to do it.
I think you can work hard to get into new routines, but that feels very uncomfortable for a period of time. And that is like a hump you've got to get yourself over. I myself am going through that right now. I think the last 3 weeks, many of you know I have been very ill with a really bad cold. And Monday was the realization of clients who have not been getting my attention. I have not been completing assignments for them. And I did get it done, but it comes with a huge amount of guilt that I have not been my best for them. And I have to make peace with that.
Absolutely. Somebody else was saying something?
What I was going to say, Rodney, is that, I tend to lean towards the easy stuff. And, for those of you that don't know, I retired January 15th last year. So tomorrow is my 1-year anniversary. And I'm doing small business consulting with SCORE. Enjoy it like crazy. Met some tremendous people. But it's been enlightening to see. I look at the year and I had to forgive myself for not making more progress, because I thought I would be way further ahead with a lot of different things that I'm not. And so I'm kind of using that as a tool to refocus what I worked on this year. Because even though I'm retired, I'm not a rocking chair kind of sit on my hands kind of human being. But I'm going to try to do the hard things first, because that's the stuff I try to avoid. And you can fill your day with feel good stuff and get nowhere. And that's something I'm really figuring out in this retirement mode.
So has anyone read Eat That Frog?
What's that?
Yes.
Eat That Frog.
Eat the frog.
Yeah.
You got
I had my
something?
staff read it. It's a great book on doing the small things first. And it's interesting that you say that, because I think understanding with procrastination what turns us into an ostrich, what makes us bury our head, the what's behind it is how we can help to overcome it. I just went through a month-long nightmare with Squarespace. My website's not up. Technological challenge, customer service challenges. There are things that I will literally just not do because my fear or frustration, the wall, the negative, I'm like, it'll tint my whole day. So I know I avoid those things. So I tend to pay attention to what the triggers are when I do procrastinate so that if I come up against something else like that, I can pause and go, okay, danger, danger, stranger. This is not going to be a good one. What can I put in place? And it doesn't always work. My website's still not up, but I'm here. So I consider that resilience.
So, and keep that in mind. We're going to share some other resources too later on, Karen, as we talk about kind of the overcoming side of this, right? But the insights here is that obviously, if we take, if we find the strength to go, hey, we're going to work our way through this procrastination. We're going to keep moving on our task, right? That we can do much better good with it than we could bad, right? But procrastination continues to reinforce that we want to avoid and not learn new things or obviously that we fear that failure more than anything that's out there. And so I believe, and this is just the study that was done where I've gotten some of this stuff from, right? That procrastination is somewhat of a learned experience, right? Based off of the way you think, the way you speak, the way you act, right? It continues to reinforce those behaviors, and part of Eat the Frog as well as Atomic Habits, right? And those things, those kinds of resources come in to say, you just need to change the way you think so that you can also change the way you speak and also change the way you act towards whatever task comes in front of you, right? And so, guys, we're going to get ready to go to our first breakout session, right? And I want you to talk about, I want you to share kind of what thoughts are you thinking, the words that you're speaking, the acts that you're doing, right? That leads you to the art of procrastination. So feel free to screenshot that, guys. I'm going to get the rooms mixed up here. We're going to go to breakouts. We're going to go for about 10 minutes.
In your retirement.